Chosen one, you will lose it when you hear this. Open your eyes. They counted you out before you even began. They looked at your silence and called it weakness. But what they never saw was what you were becoming in the dark. You were breaking, yes, but breaking open, breaking into something greater, not falling apart, falling into alignment. Every no you heard was a redirection. Every delay was protection. Every tear was a seed in sacred soil. And now, the roots have run deep, the ground is shaking, and the bloom is unstoppable. Chosen one, something unbelievable is unfolding right now. Not in some distant future, not in someone else's story, but in yours. What you're about to hear will shake your spirit, open your eyes, and ignite something you thought was long gone. The timing is divine, the signs are undeniable, and the energy, oh, the energy, is about to flood every space of your being. You're not just watching this by accident. You're being guided to hear what has been hidden from you all along. This is your moment to see what's been in front of you the entire time. Before we go any further, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Watch this video until the very end. Don't skip, don't rush. Let your soul take in every word. And if you feel something shift, drop your warmest wishes in the comments, along with 99, to signal to the universe that you're open, ready, and in full alignment. This is a chapter about wishes coming true and energizing the universe, your universe. You thought you knew what was happening. You thought the delays, the detours, and the disappointments were just random hardships, punishments even. But let me tell you something, they were never delays. They were divine distractions, meant to protect you from premature exposure. Because if you had stepped into your purpose too soon, you would have self-destructed. You would have mistaken shallow attention for deep destiny. You would have traded legacy for likes. That's why you're here now, being awakened at this very moment. Something in your soul is stirring. The reason you're still standing after everything is not because you're lucky, it's because you're chosen. And chosen ones don't just survive, they are set apart for a higher revealing. You've been misunderstood, misused, underestimated, and still you're rising. And not just slowly, you're about to shoot up with a force no one can ignore. This isn't a motivational speech, this isn't a hype video, this is a transmission meant for the ears of those who have been feeling like something was missing, like something big is coming. You're not crazy for feeling the shift. You're not delusional for dreaming beyond your surroundings. Your spirit has been hearing whispers long before your mind caught up. And now, the whispers are about to become a roar. You've been in a season of stripping, of silence, of solitude, and all of it was sacred. Because when God is preparing someone for elevation, He doesn't do it on a stage. He does it in the shadows. And you, chosen one, have been hidden for a reason. The spotlight wasn't delayed. It was delayed for your safety. But now, it's about to hit you full force. You will lose it when you hear what's coming. Open your eyes. You're not being warned. You're being announced. What they took from you, you'll get back multiplied. What you lost will be restored. Yes, even the time. Because the divine doesn't operate in man's concept of time. Restoration doesn't come in years, it comes in sudden shifts. And this is one of those shifts. You've been prepared. Now, you're about to be presented. The calling on your life is too loud to stay silent. The anointing is too bright to remain hidden. That fire in your gut, it's real. That sense that something is about to happen, it's not just a feeling, it's a prophecy. And here's what you need to understand. Not everyone will be able to go with you. You'll feel the urge to explain yourself to those who never saw you, but don't. Let your transformation speak. Let your elevation do the talking. The ones who doubted you will either watch or wonder. But either way, your role is not to convince. Your role is to move. You've sacrificed. You've walked alone. You've held your tongue. You've clapped for others while secretly bleeding. And now, the universe, the divine, the unseen powers that know your name. They're aligning everything behind the scenes, every delay, every rejection, every silent night. They were all investments in this breakthrough moment. Chosen one, open your eyes. Everything you thought was working against you has been working for you. You're not unlucky, you're undercover. And now, the cover is being removed. You're about to walk into rooms your name has already entered. Opportunities are looking for you right now. People you've never met are speaking your name in circles you didn't even know existed. That's the kind of shift that's happening. Doors that were shut will open, not because you knock louder, but because they've been instructed to open for you. Let this be clear. You're not waiting on a breakthrough. The breakthrough has been waiting on you to recognize who you are. That moment is now. Your awareness is the gate. Your alignment is the key. And your acceptance is the unlock. The voices that told you to quit, they were echoes of the past. But the voice calling you forward, it's destiny, it's legacy. It's a divine reminder that what's ahead is worth every tear you cried behind closed doors. You didn't break, you bent. You didn't fail, you were formed. Don't go back. Don't play small. Don't dim your light to comfort people who liked you better when you were quiet, unsure, and apologetic. You're not sorry for your calling. You're not sorry for your strength. You're not sorry for finally standing in your truth, because you've been chosen not just to shine, but to set the standard. You're not meant to blend in. You're meant to blaze trails. And when you finally speak, when you finally move, when you finally rise, yes, you'll lose it. You'll cry. You'll shake. You'll scream. But it won't be fear. It will be recognition. You'll finally see what the pain was birthing all along. And when the blessing arrives, and it will, don't be surprised. Be ready. There's something sacred about silence, about what happens when no one's clapping, when no one's checking in, when it feels like you've been forgotten. But listen closely. Silence is not absence. It's calibration. It's preparation. It's heaven reorganizing everything so that what's coming won't be distorted, diluted, or delayed any longer. You didn't go quiet because you were weak. You went quiet because you were being built. You were developing the kind of resilience that doesn't scream for attention but commands respect just by existing. You learned how to sit in the shadows and still see the light. You learned how to wait, not passively, but powerfully, becoming someone who doesn't panic when the plan pauses, because deep down, you always knew the story wasn't over. That feeling deep within you, the one that says, something is coming, hasn't been lying. It's not false hope. It's not wishful thinking. It's real, and it's closer than you can imagine. You're not imagining a shift. You're sensing a timeline that's accelerating just for you. The people who laughed when you were low will be silent when you're lifted. Not because you want revenge, but because the glow of fulfillment speaks louder than any clapback ever could. This elevation is not a performance, it's prophecy. And prophecy doesn't beg to be believed. It manifests, and it shocks the ones who swore it would never happen. You've been faithful to your process. Even when it looked like nothing was changing, you stayed consistent, even when the outcomes didn't reflect your effort. And that, yes, that is exactly why everything is about to break open for you. because the universe doesn't ignore discipline. Energy doesn't lie. When your internal world is aligned, your external world has no choice but to follow. This is the moment where your energy begins to introduce you before you speak, where your presence shifts rooms without trying, where your thoughts attract opportunities faster than your hands can reach out to grab them. You'll know it's real, not because of a sudden external explosion, but because of the peace that precedes it. That peace you're feeling right now, that's not calm before the storm. That's the silence before your symphony. Everything in your life has been rerouted, not denied. You didn't miss the train. You've been moved to the express track. What you thought was a delay was divine acceleration in disguise. And now it's your season to leap. Not crawl, not tiptoe, but leap. Leap into the unknown, with the knowing that you were born for more. Leap into rooms you feel unqualified for, because favor qualifies where credentials fall short. Leap into conversations that scare you, because what's scary now is sacred in hindsight. Leap, not because you feel ready, but because being chosen means you leap first, then grow wings mid-air. You are the generational shift. You are the pattern breaker. You are the one sent to reset everything. And that assignment doesn't come with ease. It comes with isolation, opposition, and deep emotional labor. But it also comes with favor, insight, and supernatural support that no one can block. You've outgrown who you used to be. That's why your old life feels uncomfortable. That's why your old habits don't soothe you anymore. That's why the people who once fit so perfectly into your life now feel distant, foreign, irrelevant, because you've elevated in spirit before anything else caught up. Your frequency changed, and now your surroundings are shifting to match it. Don't resist the unraveling. Let it fall apart if it must. Let the old versions of yourself be buried without ceremony. You don't owe eulogies to what no longer aligns. This isn't a funeral, it's a rebirth. You will lose it when you realize just how far you've come. In silence. How many storms you survived without applause. How many decisions you made with shaking hands and a strong heart. You will break down in gratitude when you see the full picture. The things you once begged for, you now walk in like it's normal. That's not luck, that's alignment. The new you is no longer chasing anything. Not people, not timelines, not validation. You're attracting everything because you are everything. You've tapped into the truth. When you stop trying to be seen and start embodying who you truly are, the world takes notice. The energy that's flowing towards you now is no longer testing you, it's trusting you. Because you've proven yourself, in the dark, in the silence, in the moments no one else knew about. The divine doesn't forget diligence. The universe doesn't overlook effort. And now it's responding with acceleration, restoration, and revelation. You're not entering a new chapter. You're becoming the book. The moments ahead will be filled with undeniable synchronicities. The right people will find you without effort. The right doors will swing open as if they'd been waiting for your knock. Resources will align, confirmations will multiply, and you will stand in the center of it all, not confused, but confirmed. Because this time, you won't question it. You'll know. You'll feel it. You'll remember everything that tried to break you and smile, knowing it built you instead. And when the tears fall, not from pain, but from recognition, you'll know the shift was never outside of you. It started the moment you opened your eyes and chose to believe. There will come a moment, so loud, yet so still, where you'll suddenly feel everything shift inside you. No one around you may notice it. There might not be fireworks, or a loud voice from the sky. But deep inside, something will click, and it will be irreversible. You'll feel an unexplainable certainty. I'm no longer who I used to be. That's not just a feeling. That's transformation. That's the soul recognizing itself after years of forgetting. You will lose it when you realize this power was always in you. All those years you spent looking outward, searching for permission, for recognition, for proof. You'll suddenly understand it was within you the entire time. You didn't need a green light. You are the green light. You didn't need the world to crown you. You were born with royalty in your veins. And now, the crown you once searched for outside yourself will rise from within you. This is the beginning of divine clarity. The fog is lifting. The distractions are dissolving. The noise is losing its volume. And what's left is your truth, clear, untouchable, and ready to be lived out unapologetically. You've tried to explain your vision to people who couldn't see. You've tried to shrink your calling to make others comfortable. But not anymore. Now, your clarity is demanding commitment. No more second-guessing. No more asking for confirmation from people who don't even trust themselves. You've been upgraded to a level where your instructions are between you and the divine. And that's why it feels isolating sometimes. That's why you can't relate to everyone anymore. You're not arrogant. You're not cold. You're ascending. And people who aren't on that path will misread your detachment. Let them. You don't owe them understanding. You owe yourself freedom. This part of the journey isn't about proving anything. It's about embodying everything. Embodying the peace you fought so hard for. Embodying the wisdom that came from every heartbreak. Embodying the fire that never died, even when the world gave you every reason to give up. Do you know how powerful that is? You're not just a survivor, you're a vessel of divine design. And what's coming next will not just validate you, it will vindicate every version of you that had to hold on without a sign. You'll realize the silence was sacred, that every time you thought nothing was happening, something major was happening in the invisible realm. You will lose it when you finally stand in the places you once prayed about, when you hear the exact words you once spoke in private coming back to you in public confirmation. You'll look back and weep, not in sadness, but in wonder. Because now, you'll know. It was never about luck. It was about alignment, obedience, and divine timing. This is your reward season, but not just in physical blessings. The real reward is the shift in identity. You no longer see yourself through the lens of fear or lack. You no longer operate from desperation. You operate from fullness, from knowing, from a divine sense of I am. And in this knowing, you begin to attract differently, speak differently, move differently. Not because you're pretending, but because you finally remembered. You've remembered who you are. You've remembered that your voice was meant to shake rooms, that your heart was meant to heal others, that your presence was meant to shift atmospheres. And now that you've remembered, the forgetting is impossible. The veil has been lifted. The mask has been dropped. And what's left is the real you, unshaken, undeniable, and unstoppable. People may ask what changed. They may try to trace your steps, replicate your formula, mimic your glow, but they'll never fully grasp it, because what happened to you wasn't mechanical. It was spiritual. It wasn't taught. It was revealed. And you'll no longer feel the urge to explain. You'll simply walk in rooms, and your energy will do the talking. The shift is that powerful. The upgrade is that undeniable. And your humility will only amplify it. Because here's the truth, chosen one. You're not here to convince anyone. You're here to become. And becoming doesn't need permission. Becoming is the result of everything you've endured, everything you've overcome, and everything you've surrendered. Let people doubt you. Let them downplay you. Let them question your pace. Your mission is not to be understood. Your mission is to be aligned. And alignment will always put you in the right place, at the right time, with the right people, for the right purpose. The old you needed proof. The new you walks in power. The old you over-explained. The new you simply executes. The old you tried to fit in. The new you was born to stand out. You are a living shift, a walking manifestation, a breathing example of what happens when someone refuses to settle. And when it all comes together, and it will, you won't need to shout about it. The alignment will speak for itself. The light will be undeniable, and the impact will be eternal. There's a moment coming, so divine, so orchestrated, that it will silence every doubt you ever had, not just in others, but the ones you buried inside yourself. You'll walk into something that feels surreal, and your first instinct might be to question if you deserve it. But I need you to hear this clearly. You do. Not because you were perfect, not because you always had it together, but because you didn't quit, because you showed up anyway, because you remained faithful when it would have been easier to fade away. You will lose it when you realize that all of those days you called ordinary were actually miraculous, that every time you kept going despite the silence, you were building momentum in the spirit. You were becoming the person who could handle the blessing without breaking under its weight. The blessing is not just about having more, it's about being more. And you've become someone who can hold greatness with grace. That's why it took time. That's why it took heartbreak. That's why it took separation. You had to become strong enough not to let the blessing destroy you. Because sometimes the worst thing is not waiting too long. It's getting what you want too soon and not being ready. But now, you're ready. Not just to receive, but to sustain. Not just to enter the room, but to lead in it. Not just to get noticed, but to become unforgettable. And you didn't learn that from a book. You learned it from the fire. You learned it from nights when you cried alone. You learned it when you got back up with no audience, no applause, and no clear outcome. That's what makes you unstoppable now. You've become so much more than what they labeled you. They saw what was on the outside, but they never saw what was forming in the silence. They saw struggle, but the universe saw strategy. They saw failure, but the divine saw foundation. And now, the foundation is finished. The stage is set. And you, chosen one, are walking into the scene your soul has been rehearsing for lifetimes. This isn't hype. This isn't fantasy. This is a sacred unveiling. And you don't need to do anything to force it. The moment is already in motion. The energy is already moving. What's yours is magnetized to your current vibration. And you're no longer vibrating from fear. You're vibrating from knowing. So don't worry about how. Don't stress about when. Don't chase what's divinely assigned. What's aligned cannot be denied. And your only job now is to stay open, to remain rooted, to walk in your full self, without shrinking, without softening, without second-guessing. You've already been through the proving ground. You've already endured the pruning season. Now, it's time to bloom. It's time to own what you once prayed for. And the craziest part? When it arrives, it'll feel familiar, like something you always knew was coming. Because deep down, your soul has always known. You didn't come this far to remain hidden. You didn't survive all of that to return to comfort zones. You were called to disrupt, to elevate, to inspire, to break the mold. And yes, there will still be moments of discomfort, but now You see the discomfort as a doorway, not a wall. You see resistance as redirection. You see delay as divine. You see your past as power, not prison. That's growth. That's transformation. That's what makes your rise irreversible. You're not just attracting abundance. You're becoming it. You're not waiting for alignment. You are the alignment. And everyone who thought you'd fade out quietly is about to see what happens when destiny has the final word. You're not the same. You don't think the same. You don't move the same. And that's why the old world no longer fits. That's why you're being called higher, because the version of you that's emerging now can't be confined by the limitations of your past. So yes, you might lose it. You might cry. You might laugh uncontrollably when the breakthrough hits. But it won't be because of surprise. It'll be because of confirmation. You'll finally understand why nothing else worked, why the doors closed, why the timing was off. Because what's coming wasn't just a reward, it was right. And when it arrives, you'll meet it with full presence. No more hesitation, no more shrinking, no more negotiating with your calling. You'll step fully into it, knowing that every version of you that held on, every version of you that endured, now gets to live in the light of fulfillment. Because the promise wasn't cancelled, the plan wasn't broken, the path was simply protected, and now the protection is being lifted. The release has begun. The divine spotlight is swinging your way, and when it hits you, you won't just shine, you'll illuminate others, because that's what chosen ones do. They don't just rise, they awaken. You've been walking through fire with a quiet strength the world never recognized. You've endured seasons of inner warfare while smiling on the outside, showing up for others while silently breaking for yourself. And still, here you are, breathing, believing, and being refined into someone unstoppable. You didn't just survive the storm. You became the storm's awakening. You will lose it when you finally grasp just how many spiritual battles were won in your name. Ones you never even saw. The ones that were fought for you, not because of how loud your voice was, but because of how loud your purpose is. You are a divine asset, a soul carrying rare light, and the enemy of your peace always knew it. That's why you've been under attack for so long, not because you were weak, but because you were chosen. You've been wondering why it's taken so long, why the struggle was so personal, so consistent, so cruel. But now you understand. It was never a punishment, it was precision. You had to be formed in a furnace, so you'd never fold under pressure. And now, with every broken piece reforged into brilliance, you are finally ready for the visibility your destiny requires. But here's the truth. Visibility is a test. Elevation exposes. When your light increases, so do the shadows around you. People you once trusted will show their envy. People you thought were cheering will go silent. That's not betrayal, it's clarity. Don't run from it. Don't shrink because of it. Understand it as confirmation. Only the bright are attacked. Only the real are copied. Only the called are tested like this. You will lose it when you realize that even the betrayal was protection. Even the rejection was redirection. Even the silence was sacred orchestration. Because none of it stopped what was yours. In fact, it sped it up. You were never losing. You were being launched. And now, here comes the momentum. Doors you never knocked on are about to open. Paths you thought were closed are suddenly being cleared. Messages are coming, invitations are being sent, opportunities are aligning. And not because you begged for them, but because you became the version of yourself that's finally ready for them. You've graduated in the spirit realm, and the universe is catching up to what heaven has already seen. So, What do you do now? You stand, not in arrogance, not in pride, but in presence. You walk into the next chapter, not as someone trying to prove their worth, but as someone who knows their time has come. You trust what's being given to you. You trust the unfolding. You trust yourself, because you've paid for that trust with every breakdown, every lesson, every comeback. You don't owe explanations anymore. You owe your energy to the future. You owe your focus to your path. You owe your heart to the mission that's calling you higher. And if anyone can't see it, it's because they were never meant to walk in your elevation. Let them go. Let them stay confused. Let them doubt. Their confusion is not your responsibility. Your clarity is your weapon now. Your alignment is your armor. And here's the revelation that will drop you to your knees. This entire time, it was you that your younger self was praying for. You are the answered prayer. You are the proof that it's possible. You are the fulfillment of every sleepless night, every whispered hope, every moment you asked, will it ever get better? Yes. And now, it's happening. You are stepping into the life that once felt like a fantasy. The peace you only got in glimpses will now become permanent. The success that once felt out of reach will feel like a reflection. The purpose that felt blurry will now feel like oxygen. You'll wake up differently, walk differently, breathe differently, and it won't be forced. It'll feel natural, because you've stopped pretending to be less, and you've started becoming your whole self. That's what this part of the journey is about. Wholeness. Not just getting things, not just reaching goals, but becoming the person who's no longer at war within, the person who no longer sabotages blessings, the person who no longer chases love, worth, or belonging. Because now you know, you are love, you are worthy, and you belong wherever the divine assigns you. You're not arriving, you're returning to yourself, to your truth, to your divine essence that never needed fixing, only revealing. And when it all lands, when the reality of your transformation fully hits, you'll break. But this time, you'll break open, not down. You'll cry, but there'll be tears of recognition, not regret. You'll tremble, but it will be from gratitude, not grief, because you'll finally understand. Everything was necessary, everything had a purpose, and nothing was wasted. This is the season where the story flips, where you go from overlooked to undeniable, from wounded to wise, from hidden to highlighted. And it's not just a personal shift, it's a cosmic announcement. The chosen one has arrived. The shift is complete, not coming, complete. And you may not even realize it yet. You might still wake up expecting the old version of your life to greet you. But that version is gone. That reality expired the moment you aligned, the moment you said, enough, the moment your soul whispered, I'm ready. And now, everything responds to that readiness. This is no longer a season of waiting. This is a season of receiving. Receiving without guilt, without second-guessing, without self-sabotage, because you've finally stepped into your identity, not as someone wishing for change, but as someone who is the change. You'll walk into rooms and feel the silence, not because you're invisible, but because your energy is being felt before your words are spoken. You'll sense when things shift in your favor, not out of arrogance, but because you're finally tuned into your spiritual authority. You'll no longer seek validation. You'll recognize when someone is sent, when someone is seasonal, and when someone is a test. You will lose it when you realize that you've become the version of yourself your past self wouldn't even recognize. The healed you, the fearless you, the aligned, grounded, divine you. That's who's standing now. All of your battles were never just about survival. They were about structure, building the frame to carry a blessing that is massive, multidimensional, and meant to last. Anyone can manifest a moment, but you, chosen one, are manifesting a movement. You are the movement. You are the shift in your bloodline. You are the reset in your community. You are the reminder that something bigger is always at work. You are walking proof that pain births purpose, that chaos doesn't cancel calling, that the dark doesn't destroy destiny. It reveals it. And when they see you now, when they hear your name in rooms where you were once forgotten, when your story is told as inspiration, not pity, they'll wonder how it all happened. But you'll know it happened one silent step at a time, one brave breath at a time, one yes to your soul at a time. You'll know that the glow wasn't purchased, it was earned. You'll know that the fire didn't burn you, it built you. And most of all, you'll know that the voice you're hearing right now, the one telling you that this is real, that your time is now, that your spirit is free, that voice is you. Not a version that's far away, not a distant future self, but the version that's finally been activated. The voice of the chosen one who finally opened their eyes and saw themselves clearly. So don't dim now. Don't doubt now. Don't deny the light that was always meant to be seen. Walk boldly. Speak loudly. Live fully. You are no longer asking for your seat. You are creating the table. You are no longer knocking. You are the key. You are no longer hoping. It's happening. So take a deep breath. Look around. Listen with your soul. This is what it feels like to be in alignment. This is what it feels like when the universe says, "Welcome. We've been waiting for you." And yes, you'll lose it. Tears will fall. Your heart will race. Your knees might buckle. But this time, you'll fall to rise. You'll cry in gratitude. You'll tremble with purpose. Because everything makes sense now. This was never the end. This was the arrival. Chosen one, open your eyes. You're home. You've stepped through a doorway that no one can close, not because it was handed to you, but because it was built by you. Every hardship carved the edges. Every sleepless night laid the foundation. Every quiet moment of faith nailed it into place. You're not walking into luck. You're walking into legacy. And with that comes something few are ready for: the weight of becoming. See, elevation is beautiful, but it's not light. It carries responsibility. Now that you've awakened, now that your eyes are wide open, you can't go back to pretending. You can't unsee your purpose. You can't unknow your worth. You've crossed into the realm where everything must align or fall away. And yes, things will fall away. People who once felt like forever will start to feel like a closed chapter. Not because they're bad, but because you're no longer resonating with the version of you that needed them. You'll feel lonely again, not because you're alone, but because you're being prepared for those who match your next level, not your last one. The divine will strip away everything that no longer fits your frequency. Habits, environments, mindsets, even identities you clung to for comfort. You'll want to hold on. You'll feel the urge to explain. But let this be your confirmation. You don't need to. The shedding isn't punishment, it's permission. Permission to be who you actually are without apology, without shrinkage, without editing your essence to be digestible. Because the world needs the real you, not the polite mask, not the silent sufferer, not the half-shown heart, the whole, unfiltered, fully alive you. And that version, it's arriving now, bold, certain, and unshakable. You'll begin to notice signs everywhere, synchronicities that make you stop in your tracks, repeating numbers. Conversations that feel like they were scripted for your soul. Dreams that carry messages. Moments that feel too perfect to be coincidence. Don't dismiss them. That's not fantasy. That's alignment talking to you. You're tuned in now. You're no longer reacting. You're creating. You're no longer surviving. You're designing. Every word you speak echoes deeper. Every decision you make sets off divine motion. This is the reality of someone living in flow with their higher self. The universe doesn't ignore that kind of alignment. It mirrors it. And soon, you'll see what that reflection looks like. Opportunities will multiply. Resources will seem to appear out of nowhere. The right people will orbit your life with no explanation, except you're ready now. They were always waiting. You just couldn't see them before because your vision was still clouded by fear and self-doubt. But those clouds have lifted. And now, everything looks different. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You no longer look at obstacles the same way. You recognize them as setups, as mirrors, as invitations to rise instead of reasons to retreat. You've become the person who doesn't panic when plans shift because you know that divine plans always override human ones. This is what power feels like. Not control over others, not manipulation of outcomes, but control over yourself, over your reactions, over your choices, over your narrative. And in this power, you become unstoppable, not because you never fall, but because you know how to rise with wisdom in your hands and fire in your chest. You'll stop explaining your moves. You'll stop waiting for green lights from people stuck at red. You'll stop asking for permission in spaces you were sent to lead. Because now you know, being chosen isn't about superiority, it's about service. You're here to shift atmospheres, to activate others just by existing, to carry light into places where it's been dimmed for too long. You don't have to preach, you don't have to perform, you just have to be. Your presence is enough, your voice is enough, your essence is a key that unlocks destiny in others. So yes, when you fully realize the weight of that, when you feel the magnitude of who you really are, you'll lose it. You'll break. You'll sob. You'll shake. But this time, it's not fear. It's freedom. It's your soul celebrating. It's your spirit returning home to its highest truth. You are no longer asking the universe for signs. You've become the sign. You are no longer praying for a shift. You are the shift. You are no longer waiting for something to begin. It already has.